Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Karatulan Munir and I am here to discuss a very interesting topic about species. The type of species. Today I will discuss four type of species: superspecies, sibling species, polyphyletic as well as subspecies. So start with superspecies. It is not a formal taxonomic category. It represents a group of related, totally allopatric and monophyletic species. Ken Smith in 1926 used the term formentaries for these geographic spheres. Rent in 1926 proposed a German word art increase for a group of allopatric species, but later on Meyer in 1931 introduced the term superspecies for the sake of convenience. Superspecies can be defined as a monophyletic group of closely related or entirely allocated that are too distinct to be included in a single species, or that demonstrate their reproductive isolation in a zone of contact. Superspecies are not given nomenclature recognition but are listed in monographs and catalogs by an appropriate use of headings and symbols. Simpson in 1961 used a way to define or describe superspecies. He defined superspecies as a group of populations that have passed beyond the point of potential interbreeding and have acquired separate evolutionary role. Superspecies, it is presumed that they are still near the critical point of speciation. Amended in 1961 introduced the term allospecies for the component species of a superspecies. But my workers recognize the two types of species. The one is the geographical and the number two is the chronological species. A good example of superspecies is the black-throated green warbler group. That includes the species as well as Townsend's, hermit, golden-cheeked, and black-throated grey warbler. Each of the latter four species in the above group is thought to have evolved from its black-throated green ancestor. This species expanded from its southern USA deciduous forest territory into coniferous forest created by the most recent glacial advances. Isolation occurred among populations as generation of separate populations slowly separate west and north throughout North America. Each population became a divergent island. Gene flow ceased as reproductive isolation caused speciation to occur over cones. The resulting five species share various field marks but also express their own unique characteristics. Here is a picture of black-throated green warbler and black-throated grey warbler. The next one is a sibling species. Those species which are morphologically similar but reproductively isolated are known as sibling species. These are reproductively isolated species that are difficult to distinguish by morphological characteristics. The sibling species are mere pair of groups or similar or closely related species, which are reproductively isolated but morphologically identical or nearly so. They are geographically isolated species and genetically different from each other. Those genes which are controlling reproduction are similar and being changed, but those genes which are controlling morphology remains unchanged or similar. Sibling species. Those species have been evolved from common ancestor, but with the passage of time they show divergence or speciation and thus become reproductively isolated are known as sibling species. The number of sibling species. The sibling species are mostly common in insect orders like Diptera and also they are common in protozoans. In the case of vertebrates, the sibling species are less as compared to invertebrates. The use of sibling species is not much authentic in fossil paleontological specimens. In the case of polyploidy, the number of sibling species are more common. Identification. Sibling species are identified through following ways. The 1. Reproduction. 2. Cytology. 3. Behavior. 4. Host preference. 5. Pathogenicity. 6. Egg size. 7. Susceptibility to parasite. 8. Biochemical test. Examples: flycatcher have a genus called Amphitonix. It has two species, that is dusky flycatcher and gray flycatcher. These are sibling species. Mouse lammer has 16 sibling species. White-tailed eagle and bald eagle are also sibling species. Here is a picture of dusky flycatcher and gray flycatcher, and these are sibling species. White-tailed eagle and bald eagle, they are also sibling species. Then comes to polyphyletic species. Any species that has two or more than two species are called polyphyletic species. These are geographically isolated members of the same species are called subspecies. Examples: horned log. The concept of polyphyletic species have many advantages, which includes this concept greatly simplifies the classification of groups like birds, mammals, snails, and butterflies. Before this concept, all these groups were classified into monotypic species, which are representing a complex classification, but now the classification is very simple, easy, and complete. This is due to polytypic species concept that 19,000 monotypic species of birds have been reduced to 9,000 species. A similar simplification has been reported for other groups of vertebrates and invertebrates. Subspecies. The term subspecies refers to one of two or more populations of a species, living in different subdivisions of species, range and varying from one another by morphological characteristics. A single subspecies cannot be recognized independently. A species is either recognized as having no subspecies at all or at least two, including any that are extinct. In zoology, under the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, the subspecies is the only taxonomic rank below that of species that can receive a name. Here is examples of subspecies. A taxonomist decide whether to recognize a subspecies. A common criterion for recognition two distinct populations as subspecies rather than full species is the ability of them to interbreed without a fitness penalty. In the wild, subspecies do not interbreed due to geographic isolation or sexual selection. The differences between subspecies are usually less distinct than the differences between species. Hope you enjoy my topic. Thank you so much.